Today is Blackout Day. Over 7,000 websites participating, 11 huge sites, including Wikipedia, Reddit, Raw Story, are participating in a blackout of the internet. Google has blacked out their name in their homepage, and when you click on it, it goes to an explanation of why the Stop Online Piracy Act, SOPA, and the Protect IP Act, which is the Senate version, PIPA, are bad for the internet, disastrous in fact. But there are some people who are fighting back, of course, and they are known as lobbyists. And primary among them is Chris Dodd, who was the former senator from Connecticut, a Democrat, and who's now the head of the Motion Picture Association of America. And well, you might say, but wait a minute, Cenk, I remember when Chris Dodd retired, and when they asked him what he was going to do, he had this quote: "No lobbying, no lobbying." Of course, you might also remember that we called BS on that. When we saw that, we're like, yeah, right, come on. Of course Chris Dodd was going to be a lobbyist. We said that on the Young Turks ahead of time. Now, I got it wrong. I thought he was going to be a bank lobbyist, but he switched it up on me and became an entertainment lobbyist, a Hollywood lobbyist. Whoa! That's very different. In fact, the job that he has is considered the best job on K Street. That's what basically its nickname is. K Street is, of course, where all the lobbyists are. He gets paid approximately $1.2 million for that job. So all of a sudden, Chris Dodd decides, well, maybe lobbying or strategic advice for the entertainment industry is not so bad. And their top priority being to crush the competition on the internet by crushing the internet through the SOPA and PIPA bills. So here's what he has to say about this. "It is an irresponsible response and a disservice to people who rely on them for information and use their services," referring to the blackout, obviously. "It is also an abuse of power given the freedoms these companies enjoy in the marketplace today. It's a dangerous and troubling development when the platforms that serve as gateways to information intentionally skew the facts to incite their users in order to further their corporate interests." That's a good one. That's a good one. Because Chris Dodd's job is to further the corporate interests of the entertainment industry that he represents. And ably so, because he got all of his Democratic friends like Senator Pat Leahy and Senator Harry Reid, who claim to be progressives, to be in favor of this by going, oh, come on, guys, you guys get a lot of money from Hollywood, and now I'm representing Hollywood. Let's do a bill that's totally in favor of Hollywood and totally against the internet. How dare they protest? I can't believe that. That is an abuse of their power. All they're doing, by the way, is not buying politicians like Chris Dodd, Pat Leahy, etc. They're just saying, hey, you know what? We're not going to give you service for one day to see the value that these websites and these companies provide. It's an excellent protest that doesn't involve corruption at all. Maybe that's why Chris Dodd doesn't like it. And by the way, you should note that in the Democratic primaries in 2008, the guy I supported was Chris Dodd. And the reason I did that was because I was tricked into believing that Chris Dodd gave a damn about the Constitution. He talked about, oh my God, the civil liberties abuses, the Constitution. And I was like, I supported him over Barack Obama because Barack Obama didn't fight Bush when he was in the Senate at all, and at least Chris Dodd was fighting on the Constitution issue. When it turns out protecting freedom of expression now is a punchline for him. He's like, well, I'm getting paid $1.2 million to crush your freedom of expression. So Constitution, what name so? Come on. So now what does Patrick Leahy say? Well, it turns out Leahy says, quote, "The Protect IP Act will not affect Wikipedia, will not affect Reddit, and will not affect any website that has any legitimate use, except for the fact that is totally and utterly not true." You think Wikipedia and Reddit are going to all shut these down? The for-profit sites that make all that money are going to turn that money down for that day, which is a huge blow to their business, and they might lose customers. They might gain customers too, but it's certainly a risk, right? They're going to do all that because this bill doesn't affect them? Well, let's actually skip to the Stanford Law Review. That is graphic 6 here, to give you a sense of what do the experts believe. Well, they write, the lawyers that study this, not only does it violate basic principles of due process, by depriving persons of property without a fair hearing and a reasonable opportunity to be heard, it also constitutes an unconstitutional abridgment of the freedom of speech protected by the First Amendment. So there's your SOPA and PIPA bill, which Democrats like Leahy and Dodd and Reid claim, oh, no, there's nothing wrong with it. Why are all these guys protesting? When in fact, constitutional law professors believe that it violates not just our freedom of expression in a generic sense and theirs, but that it is a constitutional violation. And it takes away these websites without any due process. You know what that is? That's taking away property without due process. Violates the Fifth Amendment and the First Amendment. Now, that's from the guy I made the mistake of supporting because I thought he was in favor of the Constitution.